But we'll start with England, who disappointed once again. They could only manage a 1-1 draw against Denmark. They'd actually score the opening goal. Harry Kane make it 1-0, and as we've seen so many times, then sat back. Denmark gained in confidence, got a deserved equaliser, and were the far better side throughout the 90 minutes. I'll be disappointed in the end that they only picked up again a draw against a miserable England team. Right then, this is going to be fun.
Told you it was going to be better.
Oh, it was worse. It was worse than the Serbia game, which was terrible as well.
But it was the same problem.
Yeah.
Taking the lead, bright start, then giving away possession, sitting back, 4 points, going to qualify, everything's rosy. The performances with the talent available has been awful. To be dominated in the second half by Serbia and this Denmark side that are not a patch on 3 or 4 years ago is quite embarrassing. We're going to talk about Spain a little bit later. But all the Spanish talent are getting on the ball and they're passing it and they're moving and they're creating stuff. They're getting Spain on the front foot. Foden, Bellingham, Saka, Kane. I mean, 3 of those were taken off, weren't they? I mean, it's just, quite frankly, this buck stops with the manager. Team selection, substitutions, tactics, and he's going to get away with it thus far in terms of points. But in terms of performances, absolutely atrocious from England.
Why is it so slow?
It's a great question. It was quite embarrassing. I mean, it's copy and paste. When you watch England, they take the lead. It's incredible how many times they take the lead, England, and then just go back foot, retreat.
But that can't...
Nothing about them.
Southgate can't be on the touchline going, right, boys...
I agree.
Retreat now.
I agree. So, therefore, where's the leaders? Where's Declan Rice? Where's Harry Kane verbally getting his team up the pitch? It was so bad. It was far worse than the Serbia game. The substitutions were very bizarre. And my biggest question with Gareth Southgate is, when you're making these substitutions, you're not really changing the tactics. Why would you take Harry Kane off? Why couldn't you put Ollie Watkins on and play a different formation and play Ollie Watkins with a Harry Kane? It's almost like you just take Phil Foden off, put Eza on, take Kane off, put another centre-forward on, take a midfield player off, take a midfield player off. I've seen Jose Mourinho take Joe Cole off in a game for Chelsea in 20 minutes. I've seen Pep make changes at half-time. Southgate he doesn't inspire, he doesn't make the right decisions. It was such a bang-average performance.
Let's start with Alexander-Arnold, shall we? Who is normally a right-back for Liverpool. A Liverpool team that's been very successful over the last few seasons with him playing in that role. He's never played as that holding midfielder for Jurgen Klopp. Yet Gareth Southgate feels like he sees something within him that makes it work. It didn't work against Serbia. He doubled down today, and it really didn't work again today.
I imagine the idea for Trent Alexander-Arnold to be in this position is because of his range of passing. And part of his range of passing is actually playing a ball in behind. How many times did England actually look to get in behind? It wasn't until the 25th minute that we saw the first run in behind from Jude Bellingham. And so if you have Harry Kane coming and showing for the ball, as he does quite often, then those guys on the outside have to be willing to run in behind. Jude Bellingham has to be willing to run in behind. Because then, if he's not finding those through balls, if he's not finding the big switches, then the role of Alexander-Arnold actually becomes mute. Yeah. Because, quite frankly, if you're just going to have a guy who's going to pass it sideways and back, and he's not going to defend, then you're missing out on what his strength is. And his strength is actually finding that ball forward. He's not going to be a defensive presence, never has been. He's a guy that certainly can pass the ball sideways and back, but that's not why he's on the field. And so, structurally, England looks all sorts of out of position. It's not just Alexander-Arnold. If you didn't know any better, watching the second half, you may have thought that Denmark were playing with 15 players on the field and England had only 7. Denmark are getting to every second ball. They're getting to every challenge. They're jumping on every loose ball. They're jumping on every rebound. Where are the England players? Where is the pressure on the ball? The quality of possession, or lack thereof, I should say, from England, it's unbelievable, really. When you think about the quality of players that we're talking about, that we see on a weekly basis, that they cannot keep a ball for more than 3-4 passes against Denmark, it's embarrassing. And so, I agree with the guys. Look, you look at this team and you don't recognize the personality of the group.
Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden, just to pick out 2 players, right? They've got lots of talented players.
Best player in Spain, best player in England this year.
Exactly. They must be going, and we talked about it, if England are going to have a serious tournament, those 2 will have to be super involved, which they are not, by the way, at the moment. But they must be going back as other senior players must be and going, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, what's the plan?
You know, Gareth Southgate told English TV after the game, Trent Alexander-Arnold's an experiment. We're in the European Championships. Are England so arrogant that they think they can experiment just all through the group stages because, once again, they have a soft group, which they do have? They got Slovenia in the last game. Because if they'd played like this in a better group, the Spain, Croatia, Italy group, if England had played like that, they'd be going out. Yeah. Right? The other thing is, as you said to Don there, Southgate's not saying to the England players, hey, sit deep. Well, that's maybe the case, but why is he not saying get up? Why is he not saying squeeze up? Can you imagine, and you can see this is a pretty soft group, let's be frank about it. Can you imagine the real top coaches at club level, Ancelotti, Klopp, Guardiola, you name them, sitting watching such super talented players being outplayed and just sitting there? We see Man City all the time. If he's not seeing it, he's like, pass, you there, hey, off. You know, he wants passes. Southgate, we don't have it. And this is not down to the England Achilles heel, the defence.
No.
This is not. This is down to their lack of ability to control a game. And he played the same team. He made the same substitution with Conor Gallagher coming on. He's a headless chicken. He runs about.
Got booked, didn't he?
Got booked. Probably going to get sent off. You can't rely on him.
He nearly cost him the last 20 minutes because once he was on a yellow card, he couldn't make a challenge. He had to duck out of 2 or 3 50-50s.
Take me into some of these world-class players' heads. Bellingham, Foden, Kane, been there, done that, yeah?
Yeah.
Domestically. Why do they need coaching? What I mean is, why can't you just go into almost autopilot? We know, boys. We know what we need to do
That's the instructions
to win a
from
game.
the coach.
So what are the instructions that are going against what naturally they want to do?
Well, it's very difficult because one side of me thinks like you. Southgate can't be saying to them, once we go up, take a step backwards. But you can quite clearly see it's in their mentality at international level, not at club level, because Phil Foden's excellent and so is Jude Bellingham. Phil Foden, after the first 15 minutes the other day, invisible. Jude, apart from one pass to Ollie Watkins when he slid it down the side, invisible. So you're not making usage of your world-class players. I mean, you can see his stats, but you don't even have to see the numbers. You just watch his performance. And we're starting to watch a team like Spain with Nico Williams and Yamal, who are just like front foot, take your full-backs on, terrorise them, take your team further up the pitch. You watch England, and as Ali said, they can't string passes together, so that's a problem. The pitch didn't help today, but that's not an excuse. Lack of service to Harry Kane, who can't run in behind, so he offers, apart from coming short, not much. So therefore, in my opinion, he needs a partner. Instead of just having one up front, you could play Ollie Watkins, Harry Kane comes short, the other centre-forward spins in behind. There's so many problems when you watch England. But the worry for England fans is they must be tearing their heads up because they're looking at the players on paper and they're thinking you wouldn't swap some of these players for other players. But performances are not showing. The tactics are not showing. The patterns of play are definitely not there. I watch England and I go, apart from maybe asking Saka to take someone on and Phil Foden maybe coming a bit inverted and Harry Kane getting a tap in or a penalty, what's the plan? I don't see it.
We've had this we had this conversation before about Gareth Southgate. Have we had this conversation?
But is there any world in which they just go, look, don't listen to him. We're doing our own stuff here.
Yeah.
Because clearly,
no.
you know, what he's telling us isn't working.
I certainly, as a senior player, when I was getting on a bit in my career with Paul Lambert and others, would go, hey, listen, sod that. We're doing this. But I don't know if they've got that in them to do that, some of them. But at the end of the day, he's got
a lot of young players he's got who are not going to...
Well, what's the point in taking...
They're not going to adapt that attitude, are they?
What's the point in taking Kobe Mainu and Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace, a youngster they got from Blackburn? Little or no experience, but they've taken them. Right, what's the point? You're going to go to Conor Gallagher, you're going to go to Trent Alexander.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the point?
And then cry about not having Calvin Phillips.
That is bizarre. That's the statement.
What's the point of having Cole Palmer if you're not going to find a place from when things are struggling? What's the point of having the pace of Anthony Gordon? Even Ivan Toney, or it was, who was it come on the day up front?
Essa.
Watkins. Yeah, a bit of physical presence. But what's the point of having all these players, both the ones on the screen there and the ones that played, if you're not going to try and utilise them in the right way? Now, they've got this Slovenia game coming up, and I think he has to use that as a mechanism for the first knockout game. Because this current side that he's picked for the 2 games in a row are going to get put out by the first decent team they come up against.
Calvin Phillips one's going to haunt him. saying we haven't got a Calvin Phillips. You have. You know, you've got Wharton, who's had a sensational season, Main, who's a very intelligent player. But you're talking about Calvin Phillips, or he's talking about Calvin Phillips, who couldn't even get in the West Ham team.
Well, you're talking about Calvin Phillips as if he were Rodri.
That's what I'm saying.
And he hasn't been for a while.
And he'll never be.
And no, he'll never be. There was a cutaway, and while the game is going on, late in the match, in which they just look at Cole Palmer just sitting like this.
Yeah. And Gordon yawned.
It was like, And you're thinking, this team needs a different type of energy, right?
Yes.
At different time, a different type of idea, a different type of feeling. That kid could give that feeling. At least that's what we saw from him at Chelsea. And at the very least, you have somebody who doesn't have any scars, okay? Doesn't have any scars with England. And so he's going to go out on the field, and I imagine, look, give me the ball, which is kind of what we saw from Phil Foden towards the end of the first half, in which it felt like he was just saying, all right.
Yeah. When he made that run.
Yeah, I'm not getting the ball over there, so I might as well come over here.
Some players, Ali, are built that way, aren't they? When you talk about like Saka, they're a team player and they'll listen to what the manager wants. Phil Foden will listen to what Guardiola wants, obviously, and he'll listen to Southgate. With Cole Palmer, he's got that bit of flair and arrogance where he will just say, give me the ball, I'm just going to go forward. Right. I'm just going to do what I want. That's his strength.
Of what would Spain do? With Rice and this, but I'll tell you what they do. They would put...
Three of them.
They would put Foden in there and they would put Bellingham in there. And they would figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They wouldn't worry about... And by the way, their two centre-backs are not the best.
No.
Right? Their back line is not... I mean, don't get me wrong, Carvajal is probably one of the best full-backs in the world. But the two centre-backs, it's not as if they've got Saliba and, you know, whoever it is.
Yeah.
They haven't. So, but they're not worried. They're not so worried about that. They're worried about what... Spain are worried about what they do on the ball, worried about what they're going to do to other teams, not worrying all the time about their weakness. And England are the opposite. And I almost think these England players are almost frightened, some of them, to go and play.
That's the interesting thing, like this frightening thing. And it's always, the British press, blah, 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 you know. Every single country has got press looking at them. You look at Brazil, Argentina, you look at those in South America. It's such an excuse.
Yeah. The British, the English media. Yeah, we have it as well. The Scottish media, they're all the same.
Yeah, everyone is going to poke holes in you, congratulate you, obviously, when you're doing well. What do we make of Harry Kane? He scored today, but it is...
I'm not having it. He's not fit. I mean, he's either fit or he's not fit.
Is this system contrary to what he needs?
Doesn't suit him.
So then why play it if you cannot get your striker, your top scorer,
but going
into
back
the game?
Correct. But what I go back to is if you're a player, more so if you're a manager, you have to have the ability to problem solve. So on paper, you go Phil Foden, inverted, talented, Saka, brilliant, Bellingham bombing on, Harry Kane coming short. We talked about it the other day, Kane coming short, Bellingham runs in behind. Once that doesn't happen and doesn't materialise, you've got to have the ability as a player to try and do something different. But I understand from a player's point of view, especially young players, you're waiting on the manager to say, well, do you know what I might do? I might take a Saka off or a Foden off, and I might go to 4-4-2, and I might give Harry Kane Ivan Toney, or I might give him Ollie Watkins, and I might have two wide players, like say a Bowen or a Eza, who can do something different. That's what when you see Spain, and I'm not comparing, but when you see the two wide players for Spain, you can imagine Jared Bowen or Saka doing that on one side. You can imagine Eza doing the same on the other side if they're allowed to go forward. It's just shockingly bad how petrified they are to go forward, especially once they score a goal.
It's a very low, and I mean low quality performance from England. When you look at the fact that there were moments in the first half in which Denmark had literally 5 guys in a line in the back, right? Which then you just do the math. How many players do they have in the midfield? So you should be having the advantage through the midfield if you're England. Therefore, logically, one would assume you'll be able to keep the ball through the midfield and force them to come out. But your possession was so poor through the midfield, even when you had advantage in numbers, that Denmark pretty much said, we only have to have 2 guys here to win the ball back. We don't need to take chances in the back. And then once we force a turnover, then we commit the numbers forward, and now England are there all over the place. Look, there are many things that we can point out here, but just passing the ball, just passing, possessing the ball from England was really, really poor.
And you look at someone like Declan Rice, who was terrible.
Yeah, it's affecting everybody. And so Rice, but I think it's down to I think it's part of a consequence of having the wrong balance in the middle of the park. And we talked about it when he was at Arsenal. When he had Havertz in there and Odegaard, he wasn't the same player as when he had somebody else to sort of bounce off. But you look at Jude Bellingham, he had the goal against Serbia, but that was the one thing of significance he did by making that long burst and run into the box. I haven't really seen him do that again. But that's part of the issue. Is it's difficult to make those runs when you're giving away possession and you're not dominating the games. When you're dominating the game, you can pick and choose when you make those runs. But Jude Bellingham, I tell you, he's found himself defending probably more than he ever did this season at Real Madrid. He's chasing back the way and he's getting frustrated. So, look.
See the Declan Rice one? He gets pigeonholed, Declan Rice, as a holding midfield player because he can do it, because he can do everything. He's done that at West Ham. And then when he went to Arsenal, he was a bit of a holding midfield player. Then Thomas Partey come in, more so Jorginho come in, and then all of a sudden that allowed him to then go forward and show everyone what he can do. If you ask Declan Rice in this championship just to be a number 6 and stand still, you're not getting the best out of the talent.
But even so, he was terrible.
He was.
He couldn't pick a pass.
Hands up, granted.
This just all seems to snowball in a direction which, once again, England fail quite spectacularly.
Well, absolutely. And look, to the point of Declan Rice, players need to make decisions on the field, right? He should be able to run by Højbjerg. Now, Højbjerg, as good a player as he may be, he can't really move all that well.
So he must have been told to sit then.
Right. And so you can get yourself on the other side of Højbjerg and receive the ball in an advanced position. Saka. Instead of dribble, cut back and pass it back again, no, how about you face up? How about you take somebody on? Force them to defend you. Put yourself in a position where you're going in a 1v1 situation that you're in isolation. Take the defender on. I would rather, as an attacking player, as a Harry Kane or whoever is playing in the middle, I'd rather see my outside guy go after a defender 2, 3, 4 times, lose the ball 3 times, but the 4th time he gets past him, now we have a goal-scoring opportunity. It's not happening. He goes touch, back. And we're seeing a lot of that from England. Touch, back. Never that way. Never penetrating. Never getting in behind. Never running in behind. And again, when you start going sideways and back, you're inviting problems because the quality of possession has to be good.
Southgate's got 2 problems.
Would you say Mark Gurhey was their man of the match, England? Probably.
I mean, he made one mistake and he got away when he got himself back in, but...
sad state of affairs, that, isn't it?
I mean, I think it's a 2-pronged problem for Southgate, this. And the first one could remedy itself. Second one, I don't think will. First, he's got to get his team selection correct, which he hasn't. And second, I think it's his biggest problem, is when other managers do things in a game, he's never, for me, been able to react. The best managers are not the ones that pick the best team. They're generally the ones that sit back and go, tell you what, I didn't expect him to be playing there and there, so we need to make... You speak to your coaches, we need to make adjustments. I go back to the World Cup semi-final. We all sat and watched that Croatia game, and almost every one of us who was there went, England need to get an extra man in the middle of the park. Mm-hmm. We sat and we kept saying it and the only person that didn't see it was the England manager. And they got dominated by Croatia and they got put out. And we're seeing similar things against mediocre sides, by the way. Serbia and Denmark are... I mean, I don't want to be harsh on them, but they're a level down from where England should be and others. So this is a big problem. And I wonder if Gareth Southgate's getting a little bit of leeway in England with some at the moment because he has a good relationship with a lot of the journalists. But that can't last. In fact, I'll give you something. They're boring to watch.
Yeah.
And they've got better players than that.
Without a doubt.
And just one last thing. Another concerning thing about England. The blank stares.
Yes.
You look around.
Yeah.
And it's just people kind of going, I don't know. Do you know?
And these are players that have won so much.
Correct. And yet they have blank stares. And that is worrisome because it's not just one player. It's across the board. And when it's across the board, then you know it's symptomatic of a team that right now doesn't quite know what is it that they're supposed to be doing.
This is so disappointing for you, isn't it?
Hey, it's all right. It's OK.
What
was more disappointing for me, of course, we've got a 14-hour marathon watch along on ESPN FC's YouTube channel going on at the moment. Now, it included, there's Craig Burley.
What a programme.
In a Scotland shirt. And look at that. What a lovely look, Craig. God, you look old, don't you? Nah, your old man's hat, your old chair. There it is.
Oh, come on.
Oh, brilliant.
Down a bit, down a bit, down a bit, down a bit.
Hey.
Burley.
Oh, hello.
Quality content, of course.
I'm moving.